What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, wishing you a very happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there that listen to us. Happy Father's Day to Josh Reddick and Tyler Stafford, my esteemed co-hosts, who I decided to give the ultimate Father's Day present to. They do not have to deal with me today. So you're flying solo with me on this Father's Day to discuss the Astros sweeping the Twins in one of the more remarkable series. I think you will have seen this team play in the last couple of years, just given all the circumstances around it, who didn't play, the way in which they won these games. I don't want to come here and say that a sweep on June 13th through the 15th was some season changing thing, but something about this weekend and the way the Astros did this starts to give you the feeling that there's something here, that there's something special with this club, and you certainly don't want to overreact to. Like I said, what this let's call this what this is. They swept a team that is about their level. The Twins are right about the middle of the American League, challenging for a couple of those wild card spots in the Central, among those kind of mid teams in the Central. And they had right at the same record as the Astros when they came into Dyken Park, and the Astros just with a skeleton crew of guys that, I wrote this earlier after the game today. In spring training, it's a team's job to think about every possible way a season could go, every possible way a lineup could be configured, or every possible guy in AAA that they could need to play. And as part of this, you have to consider everything and eliminate nothing. Like the good front offices do that. Like they consider every contingency, every possibility, every awful thing that could happen, or every good player development success story that could happen that could force their hand. They have to consider that all in spring training when thinking about the season. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone in the Astros infrastructure that would have told you about the lineup that they ran out today, or about the situation they're in and the fact that they'd be thriving. This team has won 5 in a row. They've won 11 of their last 14, and they are playing. It's not, they're not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. They haven't had an extra base hit since Friday. They went 2 games without getting an extra base hit and somehow managed to still win. This is a team that's doing it a lot of different ways. First and foremost is they are pitching incredibly well. The bullpen continues to be perhaps the strength of this team that no one talks about a ton. Brandon Walter made his 3rd start as an Astro today against the Twins, struck out 9, gave up 1 run across 6 2/3 innings. And then they bring in the quote unquote lower leverage guys and Sean Dubin, Bennett Souza. They keep the game at 1-0. They put the ball in play in the 9th inning. Jeremy Pena draws a walk. Jose Altuve, all he does is put the ball in play against Duran. The Twins closer puts the ball in play. Infield single. Add in there that Jeremy Pena stole second base with some aggressive base running. Sacrifice fly from Victor Caratini, the cleanup man who was 3 for 32 in a 3 for 32 funk entering today. So again, it should not be happening like this. Like, you shouldn't run out a lineup like the Astros ran out today, hitting your backup catcher cleanup, who is in a 3 for 32 funk, having Cooper Hummel and Luis Guillorme hitting 7th and 9th in this batting order, and still manage to eke out a win like that. It is a testament to a lot of different things. It seems like every year we kind of ask ourselves, how are the Astros doing this? Like, how do they keep doing this? And it's a question. I've covered this team for 8 years, and it's a question that I even struggle to answer as someone that watches it on a daily basis, because as we have talked about, superstars have come and gone very frequently in this era. You saw one of them this weekend with Carlos Correa. They seem to shed names. They seem to shed faces. Guys get injured. Jordan Alvarez is on the injured list. Isaac Paredes continues to be unavailable with his hamstring injury. They've got 3/5 of their season opening rotation on the injured list. 2 of those guys are out for the year. And they're playing their best stretch of baseball that we have seen them play all year. They're 4 games behind the Detroit Tigers for the American League's best record, which is something that I don't think even the Astros fan that sees everything through the most orange and blue glasses could have fathomed at this point, given everything they have been through with injuries, given the stuff they did in the winter with trading Kyle Tucker away, with letting Alex Bregman sign with the Boston Red Sox. I think people thought this team would remain relevant, obviously, and would contend for a playoff spot and would contend for a division title in the American League West, which is proving itself to be a pretty mediocre division. But I think if you'd have told anyone that this team had a legitimate shot at chasing down the best record in the American League, I don't think anyone would have believed you, to be quite honest with you. But that's where the Astros sit. They head on a road trip now to Sacramento for 4 games to play a very not good Oakland A's team, and then they go to Anaheim and play the Angels, who have been playing better lately. But again, this shows you they have a stretch now where they can even extend this a little further. They can extend their division lead. They can keep, if you're going into a road trip with such a beaten up roster, these are probably the 2 teams you want to see on this road trip, with a beaten up roster, 2 teams that certainly have not had the starts to their years that they want. But it is a testament, I think, and talking to players after the game in the Astros clubhouse, it's a testament to the culture. And it's one of these things that is unquantifiable. Like, I can't point to a number on a spreadsheet. I can't point to one single thing as to what makes it that way. But they just have a culture that Josh Hader said after the game, it's become a turnkey operation, that the Astros can, it doesn't matter who comes up. It doesn't matter who is pitching, who is in the lineup, who's hitting where. It just seems that they find ways to make it work. And I know that's not the answer that is going to, it's not like maybe the answer that is going to be the most like analytical or something that is it's hard for me to even explain it, to be honest with you, because it is hard to it's hard to look at the roster, the active roster that this team has, and think, man, this team is close to having the best record in the American League. It's really stunning. And this weekend against Minnesota, I don't know why this weekend kind of stood out to me as the one that really made me think that maybe something, maybe there's something brewing with this club that is a little more special than maybe we thought. And they've always had the talent. They've had, they've still got Jose Altuve. They've got Jeremy Pena playing at a superstar level. Isaac Paredes, before he strained his hamstring, was pitching at an all-star level. Was hitting at an all-star level. If Isaac Paredes was pitching, that would have been quite the story that I missed. But on the pitching staff, they've got perhaps the best 1-2 combo atop the rotation in baseball, and Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez. They've got a back end of the bullpen in Brian Abreu and Josh Hader that is as locked down as any bullpen in baseball. So it's not as if this is a ragtag team of nobodies that's overperforming and has a bunch of pluck and grit. I mean, this is a large payroll. This is a team that has a lot of recognizable names, but they're getting contributions from guys that maybe you didn't expect before the season. And it's certainly something to behold. And it's something that the Astros have to hope continue, because Yordan Alvarez still is not swinging a bat yet. Isaac Paredes, I would be stunned if they fast play him. He's not on the injured list, but there's no reason to rush him back where they're at right now. The 2 of the 5 starters that are on the injured list aren't coming back this season. Spencer Arrighetti probably won't be back until maybe right at the All-Star break, maybe even after the All-Star break. So they're in a situation now where this is going to be the roster that they're going with for a little while. And look, some of this is luck. Some of it is fortune. Baseball fortune always does seem to turn. There's going to be times where it's not going to look and feel as rosy as this, where every break has seemed to have been going their way. Every time they put a ball in play, it seems to have some eyes. Cam Smith's walk-off single against Duran on Saturday, just a 4-hop ground ball that he hit in the right place. But you know what? He went up there ready to swing, which is something that we haven't seen from Cam Smith. He's been very passive. They've encouraged him to be more aggressive early in counts. He got a pitch he could handle, put it in play. Jose Altuve today against Duran as well in the 10th inning, or in the 9th inning, and tie the game up. All he does, puts a ball in play. It's a 4-hopper to Carlos Correa. Jose Altuve at 35 can still gun it down the line. Carlos Correa has a great arm, threw the heck out of that ball, but Altuve beat it by a couple steps. Things work when you put the ball in play. And that's one thing that this lineup has shown that it is capable of doing. It's one thing that's been a hallmark of the Astros their entire golden era is they do put the ball in play. They swing early in counts. They swung early in counts today. They don't see a ton of pitches. They haven't seen a ton of pitches recently, but one thing they do, they put the ball in play. And when you put the ball in play, good things happen. Let's hear a message from our friends at Foul Territory real quick, and then we'll come back and talk about some of these injuries and when they can expect, when the Astros can expect some of these guys back. Right after a message from our friends at Foul Territory.
If you're one of those on-the-go people, or you're skipping meals but you don't want to, there's got to be a quicker solution. We've got one for you. It's called Huel. I'm going to take a swig. Cheers to Huel. This is the Black Edition, plant-based as well. Good for me. But what do you like about it?
I like the nutrition of it, and the replacement meal is great for me. If someone always on the go, like, man, I can just grab one of these out of my fridge, lunch, breakfast, whatever it takes, whatever meal I'm not going to have time to eat. It fills me up, and it tastes great. You know why? Because it tastes like milkshake, ice cream, whatever you want to call it, whatever flavor you get is delicious.
35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 vitamins and minerals, low sugar. You can get yourself 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using the exclusive FT code FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com/FOUL. Please see our description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition, bottled.
So as is the story of Jacob Melton's season and unfortunately his career, he was having perhaps his best game as a major leaguer on Friday, hit his first extra base hit, a ringing triple off of the Astros bullpen in right center field, had another 2-run single, had a nice couple catches in the outfield, and then on, of all things, a Willie Castro home run that Jacob Melton could not catch. Jacob Melton turned around to see where the ball was going in flight. Once he realized he could not catch the baseball, he tried to position himself near the Crawford boxes to play the carom that he thought was going to come, and took a step to position himself, stepped on his ankle the wrong way, and has a sprain that general manager Dana Brown said on Sunday will keep him out at least 4 weeks, which there were some people on social media that wondered why an ankle sprain was going to keep Jacob Melton out for 4 weeks. If you watch the NFL at any point, running backs get ankle sprains all the time, and it's a 2 to 3 week recovery process. I'm not sure if this is a high ankle sprain or a low ankle sprain. Knowing the Astros medical staff, will probably never know that, but high ankle sprains are generally more difficult to overcome than low ankle sprains. If consuming enough NFL has taught me anything, that seems to be the case. So in any regard, it's a terrible break for Jacob Melton, who, and I wrote this on Friday night, kind of personified the Astros season to this point. They won that game 10-3, just completely demolished the Twins. Jacob Melton as we said, had the best game of his major league career, and he's in the clubhouse after the game and he can barely walk. Like it was a struggle for him to walk the 15 feet he had to get to his locker, where he did a post-game interview with us and was very gracious with his time. And when the question should have been about, hey, that's the best contact you've made all in your major league career with that triple, like, how do you think you're breaking through? It should have been a very positive interview, right? It should have been one to celebrate. And instead, all of the questions were about his ankle, which is it's gonna keep him sidelined for the foreseeable future. And it's a tough break for Melton, who came into big league camp and could have won a spot on this roster in big league camp had he shown out and had he performed, but came to camp with the back injury, didn't play a ton in Grapefruit League play, got sent out to minor league camp very early because of that injury, because they wanted to rehab him and make sure he was right. Then he gets to AAA to start his season, has a groin issue, pops up, has to kind of be monitored in how much he plays. And then even when the Astros called him up out of nothing but sheer necessity, because Jordan Alvarez was hurt, Zach DeCenzo got hurt, Chas McCormick got hurt, they had to call Jacob Melton up probably before they wanted to, and they were still going to progress him as if he was only playing on a gradual buildup, right? They only wanted him to play 3 or 4 games. And even trying to do that, they still can't avoid a freak injury with Jacob Melton, who if Dana Brown's timeline is to be believed and taken at face value, doesn't sound like we'll see him until maybe right before the All-Star break. And with the way these things go and having to run and really rehab this thing, could be till after the All-Star break for Jacob Melton, who was making a really good impression. I know Tyler and I had talked about Melton on the pod a little bit before when he came up, that the at-bats didn't look like someone that was 3 for 20 with 8 punch-outs when we were talking about him. Since then, he's going to sit 7 for 29, 12 strikeouts. But again, you looked at the athleticism. You looked at how he played the outfield. You looked at some of the contact he was making after his first kind of round in the first few days after the whirlwind settled down and he was able to settle in and adjust a little bit. He was impressing some people. He was turning some heads, and it was making people wonder, do the Astros really need to go get a left-handed bat at the deadline? Because maybe Jacob Melton can be that guy, whether it is in a regular role or in a platoon situation in the outfield with Cam Smith or Jake Myers or whoever's going to play left field. It could have been a platoon thing. Jacob Melton was on his way, I believe, to kind of solving the Astros left-handed hitting issues, their lack of balance. Dana Brown said as much on the Astros pregame show today, that they really thought that they had found something, that he had this runway and that he was seizing it and going to run with it and really become a guy that they could count on. So that won't happen for Jacob Melton, at least right now, which is a tough pill to swallow for a guy that has been through a lot. He's been through a lot of injuries in his career. He's been through a lot since he's gotten into the system. So, trust me when I tell you this is a rough ankle sprain for him. He was wearing a walking boot on Sunday in the clubhouse, and even in the walking boot did not look comfortable walking at all. Could barely put any weight on it on Friday. This is not your run-of-the-mill ankle sprain that you can maybe like just limp a little bit and work through it in a couple days. This looks pretty serious, and as evidenced by the timeline that Dana Brown gave. So Astros are going to be down Jacob Melton. They are still down Zach DeZenzo, who will get another image on his hand done at the beginning of this coming week. So I'm recording this on a Sunday night. I believe he'll have the re-imaging on his hand done on Monday or Tuesday. And depending on what that image shows, he could begin to pick up a bat, could begin to swing. Jordan Alvarez still has not picked up a bat, still has not swung. So until he does that, there really isn't much I can tell you in terms of, what's next or how do they, what a timeline is or how do they move forward. He's doing some baseball activities. He's running. He's doing some calisthenics in right field. He has caught some fly balls in left field and thrown a little bit. But again, he was doing all of this 3 weeks ago when we thought it was just a muscle strain in his hand. Until he picks up a bat and starts to swing and starts to hit, it's not worth, discussing a timeline. So I don't believe he's going to go on this road trip with the Astros, which means he certainly won't be activated on this road trip. And once you get past this road trip, there's only a couple weeks left in June. You could be looking at another lost month for Jordan Alvarez. And you do wonder, as the days grow and as he's not swinging, will they need to send him on a rehab assignment? I know that that's not something they wanted to do the first time he got injured, and that's why they brought the minor league pitchers into Dyken Park so he could take some live batting practice off of them. They may do that again, but he's now gone almost a month and a half without seeing any sort of live pitching, any sort of high velocity. I would imagine that they may be forced into sending him on a minor league rehab assignment just to get some at bats, just to see how the hand reacts, because at this point, I think they have to be overcautious as opposed to, doing some things, maybe letting things slide or seeing how things work or doing experiments. This has already reached a point where they've looked pretty bad in this process. They want to be overprotective here. They want to be pretty sure that he is healed before he comes back. The guy that seems the closest to me to coming back is Chas McCormick, who has swung a couple of times. He's hit off of a tee. Again, I think because he is hitting, because he is swinging, he is progressing kind of along he is on a more accelerated timeline than those two guys. He could be the first guy back that provide some help to this outfield right now that started Cooper Hummel out there in left field today, which is, I don't think, what they had on the bingo card in spring training, probably because they released Cooper Hummel in spring training. He had been in 2 other organizations and then got back to the Astros on a minor league deal a couple of weeks ago, and today started in left field in a game that they won 2-1. So again, how are they doing this? I'm not really sure, but they need some reinforcements in the worst way. They really do. And Chas McCormick seems like to be that next guy to come up, to be the guy that is going to be the first guy to be activated off the injured list. But again, I don't think that's imminent. I like I said in the first segment, this is the roster I think that they are going to carry for a little while. Isaac Paredes is still active. He has not gone on the injured list, which is a little bit surprising to me, for no other reason than hamstrings are difficult. Hamstrings are a tough injury to gauge as far as when you're ready, when you're not ready. And they're one of these injuries. You saw it with Bregman a lot when he was here, and you've seen it with other guys. Like, you can re-aggravate those things very quickly. And Isaac Paredes plays a position where he's moving a lot. Like third base is a very active position. He's got to have quick reactions, go east-west, things like that. He is running a little bit, but it is surprising to me that they're going to let this play out and not put him on the injured list. I think part of the reason for that, to be quite frank, is they don't have much confidence in what's down there in AAA. So they would ostensibly rather play 2 men short, because Cesar Salazar's on the roster right now and not participating. Like, he is an active member of the 26-man roster, and they could use him if they needed to, but they have just chosen not to. And Isaac Paredes is, for all intents and purposes, has been unavailable the last couple of games. So they have essentially been playing with a 24-man roster, which is a tough way to go through life. And it's why I kind of presume that, given that they had gotten out to a 4.5 game lead in the division, they had enough cushion where they shouldn't have felt like they had to rush Isaac Paredes back. A hamstring strain is normally like a no-brainer IL situation. The fact that he was not put on the IL was a little bit surprising to me, but I do think it has to do with just the lack of options they have at AAA. That I think they believe that getting Isaac Paredes, like giving him a couple days to get healthy and then getting him back, is a little more valuable than calling up whomever is down there to just come fill a roster spot and be someone that Joe Espada maybe isn't comfortable using in a big league game. I think that's the situation they're in. I think it speaks to their lack of depth. I think it speaks to their lack of position player depth at the upper minor leagues. And it's something they're going to have to address. I would not be surprised if you see some college position players taken in the upcoming draft, and that's not to get them to plug and play right away. It's just they've got to do a better job of addressing their upper level minor league position player depth, because the fact that Isaac Paredes is still on the active roster due to a left hamstring strain, I think that has something to do with it. I really do. Let's hear one more time from our friends at Foul Territory, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule. But right now, let's hear from our friends at Foul Territory.
Kratz, you look different today. Do I see Chubbies shorts on your shoulder?
Oh, the sick design. I mean, don't even get it twisted too, because the lining normally is like an SOS pad. This lining that's in the center is so soft, so smooth. The outside, so many things to choose from on chubbyshorts.com.
Facts. And the code FOUL for 20% off. I got the Tiger Sharks.
Ooh-wee.
Little blend of a tiger and a shark. It's beautiful. So don't wait. For a very limited time, shop Chubby's biggest sale of the year, $45 shorts and up to 65% off select gear. Hit up chubbyshorts.com and grab your favorites before they're gone. If you miss the sale, then use the FT code, FOUL in lowercase, for 20% off. Support FT, let them know we sent you when the survey asks, and get ready to turn some heads. Summer's here. Dress like it in Chubbies.
Okay, so I lied. I said we were going to come back and talk about the upcoming schedule. Like, who cares about the A's and the Angels? It'll be fun to go to a minor league park, though, and see the Astros play 4 games in Sacramento against the A's. I think we had, like, right before if you've noticed, I've been flustered like the whole time we've been recording this. It's not just my skittish personality and my crippling social anxiety. It's the fact that the Rafael Devers trade broke like right before I hit record, and I'm still like trying to compartmentalize and react to it. There's a saying in journalism in the industry, you localize everything. So How do we localize the Rafael Devers trade to the San Francisco Giants? For those of you that are listening to this and did not hear or did not see, A, what the hell are you doing? B, the San Francisco Giants acquired Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox in exchange for a bunch of pitchers and a bunch of prospects. It is the sort of blockbuster deal that you rarely see ever. You certainly don't see it on June 15th. This is one that if it would have happened around the deadline, like July 29th, 30th, sure, it would have still been a pretty stunning trade, but you could be like, okay, like blockbuster, those things happen. The Astros got Zach Greinke once, like blockbusters happen. For it to happen on June 15th, for it to happen right before the Giants were playing on Sunday Night Baseball and starting a guy in Kyle Harrison who was in the trade, they had to scratch him and start someone else. Just a surreal hour and such in the baseball world from that vantage point. So let's try to localize it a little bit. I guess you could say that Alex Bregman played a part in getting Rafael Devers traded. So that's the first local angle, I guess, that Alex Bregman, look, when Alex Bregman got to Boston, they said he was going to play third base and Rafael Devers was going to DH. And Rafael Devers obviously did not like that. He came out and said as much, said that he did not like that. And then Tristan Casas, their first baseman, blew his knee out, and the Red Sox went and very nicely asked Rafael Devers to play first base. He very politely told them, hell no, you already told me I can't defend, so I'm not going to pick up a glove and defend anywhere else. And without being in the Red Sox clubhouse and without knowing a ton just inside from their insight, it's hard to think that didn't precipitate this. It seemed to be, from everything that was said, everyone tried to put a happy face on everything and everybody was okay and everyone was working through it. But it never seemed that relationship was tenable, even though Rafael Devers signed an 11-year deal worth almost $350 million. When the owner of the Red Sox, John Henry, flew to, I believe they were in Miami, flew on the road. No, they were in Kansas City, excuse me. Flew to Kansas City and met with Rafael Devers one-on-one after he refused to play first base for the team. Look, when the owner is flying on the road to meet with you, that's never a sign that things are in a great space. Everyone came out and tried to act as if it was a good thing and everybody was getting along and it was harmonious. It clearly was not, if they're trading him on, again, June 15th to the San Francisco Giants. How does this affect the Astros? Well, it's one less very, very, very good player in the American League, in an American League that is already very wide open, and an American League that, as we have mentioned, the Astros are only 4 back of the Tigers for the best record. So it weakens, for now, a team that was going to challenge the Astros and was going to threaten the Astros for either a wild card spot or a team that they were going to have to play a ton late in the season to. They don't see the Red Sox until August, and they see that they actually, coincidentally, the Astros' first look at Boston is the day after the trade deadline. Their first game after the trade deadline is at Fenway Park. And then the Red Sox come to Houston about 2 weeks later. So they don't see the Red Sox until August, which, again, those games just inherently mean a little bit more. So I have no doubts that Craig Breslow and the Red Sox are going to go reinforce at the deadline, that they're going to go do some things at the deadline, and their team will look different than it does today. But Rafael Devers is one of the better left-handed hitters in the sport. He is one of those guys. He's in that group of 10 hitters that you don't want to see when the game's on the line. He's one of those guys that every manager on their lineup card circles as if, like, we don't want it to get to this guy. Like, if this guy's coming up, we've got a problem. So now he's in the National League now. The Astros have already seen the Giants, so they won't see Rafael Devers anymore. I think this portends a pretty wide. When you're doing this on June 15th, I think this suggests that it's going to be a pretty wild deadline. A lot of talk in the industry so far has been that it's going to be a pretty tame deadline because there are quote unquote, like, we don't know who's going to be sellers. Like, everybody wants to be in it. I mean, these are 2 contending teams. These are 2 non-selling teams that just went after it. And I don't think anyone thought, even with everything I just said about Rafael Devers, his discontent in Boston, I don't think anyone thought there was a realistic chance he would get traded. And sure enough, he did. Just like a couple of years ago, I don't think anyone thought Zach Greinke was going to get traded from the Diamondbacks, to the point where he started a game at Yankee Stadium on the day of the trade deadline. Do you guys remember that? Started at Yankee Stadium. There was a rain delay, so Greinke was out of the game, and that's when the Astros finalized their acquisition of him. So just a reminder that when trade season rolls around, anything can happen. Anything can happen, even Rafael Devers getting traded, which I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. I think a lot of people in baseball are still trying to wrap their mind around. So that seems like a good way to end this. Again, if you survived this entire 30-minute rambling spree of mine, I very much appreciate you tuning in. And I also question, what else do you have to do with your life? Because you should have turned this off like maybe 8 or 9 minutes in. But thanks as always for listening, for following. The amount of support and the amount of praise that we have gotten for this pod since we've started has exceeded any of our expectations, and we really appreciate you guys making us a small part of your day, a small part of your routine when we post. As always, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. Please give us a like on YouTube. You can like the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and it'll let you know when we go live. Give us a rating and review on both Apple and Spotify. Those always help us get more popular. And I promise Tyler will be back for the next pod, and I promise we'll get Josh Reddick on next week to talk about his favorite team, the Sacramento A's, from Sacramento, to see what they look like in the minor league park, to see how the Astros handle what could be some interesting elements. I'm sure you guys have seen that a lot of players have gone to play at Sutter Health in Sacramento and reported back that they are not the greatest playing conditions. So we'll see how the Astros react to that. We'll talk about that with Tyler and Josh this week. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you guys.